thank you everyone for staying with us on the program. This morning I'm joined by someone to help us look at some of the highlights this past year, particularly the off-cycle elections. For the year 2024 is James Ugochukwu. He's an expert election observer. I would like to say, first of all, compliments of the season to President for allowing us to disrupt your holidays. I can imagine. So, I mean, you have. I assume you monitored all of the all-cycle elections we've held this year. At least you do understand what happened essentially in many of these elections, these exercises. Let's talk about the lessons we must have learned or also have learned from them.
Well, when you look at the off-cycle election, you discover that at times you'll be wondering why the country will plunge itself to that kind of exercise, because this is an exercise that takes a lot of human and capital resources of the people. By the time it's off-cycle election, then you are going to be deploying materials and resources to all these states. And it has a huge burden on the electoral management body. And of course a huge burden on the other stakeholders, including the security, including the civil society, including every other person. The other person that enjoyed that off-cycle are people that are gaining from it. Apart from that, the rest of us are just being overstressed. And of course, for us, we're having more off-cycle election added to the list. Cause to question if we are not heading to a point where we're having off-cycle election every quarter of the year before the general election. I'm referring to most states because Imo don't used to be in the off-cycle.
Now they are joined.
So now they are joined. So which state is next? That's what we'll be looking at. So I think the lesson we learned here is that there are both positive and negative lessons that we learned. I'll start from the positive first. In terms of election management, irrespective of how people look at it, I think the use of technology is getting better, especially the use of bimodal voters accreditation system, as mentioned. But when BVAS was introduced, they had challenges of authentication, of fingerprint and facial recognition and all that.
Right.
But over time, as we are progressing in different off-cycle election, we see that the BVAS is performing more optimally than before, especially in terms of facial recognition. The challenges we used to have then is that people will not be able to use their fingerprint for authentication, and that creates delay in the authentication process. And what is really a big experience, that will affect the entire election day process to result to late closure of the polls, and to result to late collation of results, and that is where the problem will start coming. Another positive takeaway again is that of the transmission of the result to the IRF. So over time now, we've seen that the IRF result is being transmitted real time. And even before the end of the post, we have almost 90% of the result being transmitted. So that's a positive one. The one we keep having challenges is that of logistics. So for no state. So I'm going to the negatives now. In the previous one of Edo, Anambra, Kogi and Bayelsa, the election experienced logistic challenges. Situation whereby you see the polls opening around 10 o'clock or 11, because of late arrival of men and materials polling station. And that also the question, what is it that INEC has not learned in terms of logistics? Because the question you keep asking yourself is that we have an electoral process that on election day everywhere is shut down, no movement of vehicle, everybody is at home. people are not allowed to move around, and material cannot be moved from the racks to polling units. The question you're asking is that what is just the problem? So we explain that in the 3 obstacle election that happens simultaneously the same day. That one happened in 2023, the 2023. Then this year now we saw the same thing in Edo State, where you can see the super racks as the registration area center where they house material for onward deployment to the polling unit. Not materials are not driven to the nearest polling unit that is less than 500 meters away. So the question you're asking yourself is why that? And of course we experienced something in Edo that we saw a situation where one vehicle are doing multiple shuttles to convey material from the racks to the polling units. So these are the challenges that we're facing. Another issues or the negative is that of the collation of results. Bad problem of collection of results to the point that even in a place like Edo, the thing resulted to a serious rancor between the ruling PDP and the APC. At the end of the day, the acquisition and counter acquisition about rigging and manipulation of results. So, and this is where INEC is not getting it right, as in not very mindful of the logistics that affects the collation process eventually. Because if logistics are handled timely and the polls got completed on time, say 2:30, 3 o'clock maximum, the collation process will not dictate to the night. But once collation process dictate to the night, they will start having serious issues, and that has been the common denomination and all that. And of course, by the time we get to that of Ondo now, the logistic issue was okay. At least the woman in Ondo State tried. The logistic was top notch. The election material were deployed on time. She gave her word and she stuck to it, and voting came back the way she promised. So I think whatever magic she used should be learned by other resident electoral commissioners. Then lastly is the integrity of the results. So we have a situation where political party question the integrity of the result, and this is where we should be looking at the kind of collation we are doing. Because there is this misconception that IRF is a collecting process. It's not. IRF is just for viewing. So now the challenge we have in is that by the time we have about 90% of results being uploaded to the IRF portal, and yet in the collation center, the collation is still dragging to the following day. The question I ask yourself is why the delay? So I should be looking at all these things, because it gives a lot of doubts about the credibility of the results at the end of the day.
It was interesting when we talk about these elections, and the lessons you should learn from them. You just highlighted, as you opened your commentary, talking about the positives, things we learned. Technology has helped to improve the process from what it used to be. I mean, we're not complaining about candidate again, where an incumbent president or a serving governor cannot vote because the candidate is not functioning, or a first lady can't vote because the candidate has a problem, and things like that. But they have the issue of electronic voting. Some people say we could have used one of these off-cycle governorship election exercises to try out with electronic voting. Do you think that is us trying to get ahead of ourselves?
Well, when it comes to electronic voting, I think all the technology has advanced past that. So it's a case of political will to use that particular system. In Kaduna State, for instance, during the fight time, we were able to use electronic vote, and it was a seamless process. Machines are still there, the prototype are still there, so there's nothing wrong with the INEC from adopting that. For instance, now, most young generation now, they believe in the technology and the process and all that. That's why you see that when they're having these online reality TV shows, that where people vote through their mobiles and all that, you see millions and millions of votes. When it comes to election, you don't see anybody there. So what electronic voting does is that it increases the transparency of the process. But the electronic voting too comes with its own challenges, because beyond voting, we need to protect the data that is being transmitted electronically. So for you to put that in place, you need to work and make sure that at the background they will have men that will be able to counter any form of intrusion that will alter the outcome of the election. So it's something worth experimenting. And just like the BVAS machine that is being used, INEC should start thinking of using this electronic voting in some of the by-election, all the local government, all the constituency, senatorial by-election issue. Consider just running them ahead of the time they will launch it. Infrastructurally, yes, Nigeria is having challenges of technology, communication and all that, but it's still something that is practicable. Like the BVAS machine we have, for instance, now, when you upload information on the BVAS, if you are in a difficult terrain or a place with low network, the result will be hanging there. By the time you get to the nearest communication mast that has signal, it will send to the RF server. So that's how electronic voting can be. So I don't see anything that stops us from doing it. We have advanced beyond that. Technology have advanced beyond that. Because if you have a situation where you can use a debit card machine in any POS or any ATM machine across the country, then I don't see anything that stops us from using electronic voting. It's basically the same process.
Maybe it's the willpower we are lacking, but let's also talk about will for a second, James. Look at INEC, for example. There are analysts like yourself who believe that these off-cycle elections this year have further tested the institutional resilience of INEC. Do you think, in a manner of speaking, INEC broke under the pressure given these elections we've seen this year?
Well, the question there is not something somebody can actually give a sweeping verdict on that. In that we have an INEC. I keep telling people that it's an institution that is not completely completely in control of the system. Because why I say that is that most of the people that are engaged in the electoral process are not INEC staff. We have the security that are completely not under INEC control. We have the ad hoc staff even that they are just recruited for the purpose. Youth corpus. We don't know their character. I don't know where they come from. They recruited them in a jiffy, train them and they push them. And you have other overbearing powers from the political parties and all that. Why all this is like this is because we refuse to adopt to this report, which propose that the appointment of an INEC chairman should not be settled with the president. So by the time the president keep on appointing an INEC chairman, there will still be talked about the credibility of INEC and all that. So now, until somebody can prove it anyway, because all these are still speculation that INEC did this, INEC did not do that. Until we're able to prove it, that speculation will keep on going, and this is what we should enshrine in our next constitution also. Since constitution amendment is going on, let's remove the power to appoint the INEC chairman from the president and put it under the National Judicial Council as recommended by Wales report, and even the appointment of the CJN and all that should not be under the president, because if the CJN is appointed by the president and the NJC is under the CJN, they will not change anything. So it should be a holistic overhaul of the appointment process. So that way we can have a high level of credibility and will not be able to be doubting what INEC is doing. And of course, I also put the blame on the political party. Okay, for instance, if you have doubts that INEC is not doing things the way it's supposed to be, then what you should do, you should be able to mobilize and train a very powerful party agents. Because most of these party agents, they push to the field, don't even know much about elections. So some of them will sit down there and their party is being rigged out. We've told them several times that you can train the party agent to understand what you are doing.
The process.
You understand the process. Not that you don't recruit any random person you see access you can monitor your votes and all that. And again, look at party agents with integrity. Some of them don't have integrity. I've seen a situation where a party agent is observing or working for party A in the morning, in the evening, has changed the tag to party B.
The same role.
The same role, what do you call it, the same polling unit. I've seen a situation where a party agent will just sell the votes of their principal. So recruiting people that understand how the electoral process is, and recruiting people of integrity is very, very important for political party, so that by the time they have all these things, it will not be difficult for them to be rigged out in an election. And even if they are being rigged out or they want to be rigged out, they can cry out loud and propose it openly, and the whole world will know that this is what is happening. When they lack ignorance of what is happening, some of them have never even seen electoral act or even read it, so they don't even know what constitutes election malpractice. So they watch themselves being rigged out. So the blame entirely is something that we should share it. INEC have their own blame, and INEC is handicapped in certain instances, and of course it takes two to tango, they say. For any INEC that rig election, there are people that are making them to rig the election, and there are some people that are complacent in their oversight function.
Right. You see, you just mentioned the wage reports. I mean, everybody that speaks about these issues, they talk about in the wage reports, and, in a very sterling manner, how that report also have been implemented even long before today. Then it will appear the this report does not take into cognizance the controversies we're now seeing with regards to the way judges conduct themselves. I mean, you might agree with me that in recent years there has been several question marks as to the integrity of judges and by extension the judiciary in this country. Is that still a feasible theory, or I think that is to say that we should take the power to appoint either chairman for the president and make it reside in the CJN, for example, or in the agency?
Yes, the way it is that when we want to take care with that option, we should extend it and go the whole hall of ensuring that the appointment of the CJN is not even from the president. The appointment of appeal court judges and all the people in the benches, because this is Nigeria. By the time somebody is given an appointment, it's difficult for the person to turn his or her back
against the benefactor.
The benefactor. So these are the things that calls into question the integrity of the judiciary, because no matter how the judgment is, so long as it's not in favor of the litigant, the judgment is not free. So we need to clear all this cobweb and ensure that we have a straightforward appointment process that is independent, beholden to nobody, and beholden to justice the way it is. As it is now, you see, we have a situation where the politicians now have audacity to do anything to win. They do everything to win, including election violence, including manipulation, burning of ballot paper, destroying election materials and everything. At the end of the day, nothing will happen to them. They will emerge as winner, but at the end of the day, they will tell you to go to court. When there are clear evidence that election parties have taken place, a lot of irregularities and everything, to see judgments still being made in their favor. So now, you have this kind of process. The question of asking yourself is that how did we get to this point? And the answer is very simple. They do all that because they know their own person is sitting at the court. When they say go to court, they are going to my court. By the time I go to my court, I know that the whole ruling is going to be on my favor. So they do everything and scatter everything and mess up everything. At the end of the day, they know that yes, the judge is going to judge in their own favor. So to start reversing all this trend through the appointment and through the vigilance of the political party, because the political party we have a very lazy set of political party with very weak ideology, or even if they have ideology at all. As we speak now, there is wave of defection to the ruling party. Many people from the new LP that everybody is looking up to, called integrity party, to the main opposition party, PDP, from different party, everybody is gravitating to ruling party. What does that tell you? It tells you that you have a political system that doesn't have ideology or is not based on ideology. They just face anywhere that it favors them, and it's not very, very good for our democracy.
Right, well, the discussion about democracy will continue here shortly, but I'm just to let you know that we are looking at highlights from the political exercises and political activities that we're seeing in the year 2024. When we return, we talk about what are some of the core, or if you like, fundamental handicaps of INEC. What more role can other actors, like the politicians, the political parties, and other critical stakeholders play to better improve political system and electoral process in Nigeria? All of that coming shortly. You will stay with us. Thank you for or if you like, in a country where the win is ultimately the win. They say the end justifies the means. That appears to be the overriding philosophy for political parties and those who are the actors within those parties. You just made an analogy a while ago of how that the lead opposition parties you thought would maybe ultimately form a common front against the ruling APC, for example, particularly going into 2027, are now beginning to jump ship as we know it. How do we strengthen political parties to look inward and think ideologically? Because I have had to at different times talk to one or two leaders from these parties, whether it's the APC, the Labour, APGA, the PDP, about their ideologies, and nobody seems to be able to present a clear-cut set of elements as to say this is what distinguishes between us, or distinguish between our party and the other party. How do we work, or if you like, re-engineer this political party? I know you're not a politician, but from where you stand, for example, what is the political link?
I think the way to start strengthening it, which is a very difficult one, is to see how we can make political office less attractive to people. Because if you look at all these political parties now, the only reason they go into politics is because of the pecuniary gains. The offices are too juicy. So this is a country that, even as a local government chairman, by the time you are done with your 2-year or 3 years tenure, you are a multi-millionaire. From having nothing to being a multi-millionaire. So we have to de-emphasize these incentives that comes with a public office. That's the starting point. So that by the time we are done doing that, you see that people will now start building their political ideology towards societal development. So far, what we have here is that just get into politics so that you can enrich yourself. Even apart from the alleged corruption and all that, just being in that position alone, your allowances alone, your benefits you get for being a politician is enough to make one rich for life, and that's the reason you see everybody wants to get into politics. It happens to be the only economy that booms in the country. So, and in a country where we have the politicians richer than the entrepreneurs, then you have a serious problem. These are common words for the people that these guys are using to live larger. So the number one thing is to emphasize this public office from being a place you can just go to enrich yourself. In terms of political ideology, it's also difficult for you to have a political party with ideology, because the political class are so impoverished in Nigeria that the only thing they think about is their stomach. The point that even once politicians crafted the terms for stomach infrastructure. So by the time you come as a political party, you are trying to preach ideology to the people. The question you're asking is that ideology will go chop. I was always looking for what the politicians can give them during the election. That's why I see in most of our elections, people go there to sell their vote. They are not going there to vote. Not going there to cast a vote based on ideology. They are going to cast a vote based on who pays much. So crafting a political ideology for this kind of society is a very difficult one. So probably another thing is it's still possible for the political party to emerge from the back door. And how do you do that? You can actually...
How do you mean back door?
Backdoor in the sense that now you can now start, performing as if you are in power, or you are holding political, or that your political party is in charge of affairs. How do I mean? Could I not stop a political party, ZYK party, from, coming up with a policy to educate maybe out of school children? The people shall come together and say, okay, because we are this political party, our ideology is that everybody should be educated. So they should start by demonstrating that, sending people to school.
Maybe start with child education, for example.
Education, for instance, or this one has okay, as this political party, we are giving so loans to farmers. But they will stop it from doing that. There's no law that forbids it from doing that. So by the time we start doing that, we now know that okay, when these guys can do it when they are not in power, what will happen when they get to power? Because people are not political parties are not just ordinary people, they have money. So these are big businesses that have money. So you can support agriculture, can support health, can support education, can support several things. The only thing you may not be able to do is have maybe actually infrastructure. But you can still build a cottage hospital. You say, okay, this is a particular political party hospital, and when you go there, you get treated for free. You think that someone that go there, went there and was treated for free will not vote for that party during the election.
Right.
So these are the issues. So in developed countries, you see that they have political parties that are based on ideology. Most of these political parties, they have institutes that they use to advance their ideology, not just in their country, but across the world. You understand? So the same thing is something that the politicians in Nigeria should start tinkering with. How can we have an institute that promotes our political ideology? Come up with an ideology first, and have an institute or a system or a structure that promotes that ideology over time. What we have is that we are in a particular political party. Once there's any shake-up or anything, we jump ship to the next one. If we continue like that, we'll get to a point that we will have just one party state because everybody is too lazy to work as an opposition.
Just a while ago you talked about, you were suggesting your rhetoric, so you talked about the incentivizing public offices, political offices. Some persons, even years before now, have said that even when you had former President Obasanjo in office, they said, look, one way you can do that, one way you can make it less attractive, or to use your term, less juicy, is to this idea of bicameral legislature. Others say, no, let legislators work part-time. In 2024, those ideas, are they feasible? Are they valid?
Well, in total parties are having bicameral legislature or parliamentary system, or that what we are looking at is the incentives attached to some of these offices.
Regardless of the structure?
Yes, they are so huge. Having 360 parliamentarians
at the house.
Yes, in the National Assembly, as it was National Assembly, you now start talking of state houses of assembly. Go and check their take-home pay and all that in a country that is being ranked as one of the poorest in the world. This is where all these things should start. You need to cut down cost of all these things. And if we talk about part-time legislature, how many times do they meet in a week? They meet only 3 times in a week. Yes, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. They don't meet on Monday, they don't meet on Thursday. But that one now is maybe committee meetings and all that, which if you go there, most of the job they do, they are being given to consultants or workers. So they are already working part-time, if you ask me. But you need to cut down the cost of this. If you look at the 2025 budget, now just a copy-paste of several years' budgets before it. The same repetition of items, purchase cars every day.
Cutlery and furniture.
Exactly, your cutlery gets expired every day. Your car expires every year. Your furniture expires every year. Furniture should be asking in their own household. Can they confidently tell us how they change their things in their houses on a yearly basis? The answer is no. So we should stop fooling ourselves. Unfortunately, people are supposed to pass kind of law and people that are benefiting from it. So we are in serious quagmire as a country until we start resisting this kind of a thing. Because a lot of 40-something trillion, where are we going to get the money to run run the budget.
Well, the finance minister has already talked about how that some 11 trillion will have to be borrowed to close that gap.
So you don't keep on living on borrowed lifeline, because the one we borrowed are still servicing the debt. In fact, in the budget now have about how many trillions to service debt, not to pay, just to service the interest of the debt.
Well, they are still heavily indebted.
Heavily indebted, we are still looking at what do you call it, borrowing more. So we should look at the budget and say, no, what are the line items that are repetitive? You cut it down. Okay, there are still allegations that ministry like Niger Delta have discussed, Ministry of Sport still appears again in the budget. So these are there are a lot of lapses. So we are watching the National Assembly to see what they are going to do. Also borrowing that budget. Because if that budget came back the way it was presented, without being cut down, then we are in serious trouble.
Now, speaking of cutting down cost of governance, for example, the Ontario report comes to mind readily. Well, the president, the lady said, like some people will call it, a few months ago when he said this report needs to be implemented. Well, we need to talk about how the things are being put in place to merge this ministry and that ministry, this agency and that agency. Let's not have an overlap, cross-functioning in a way that sets the country back economically, administratively, and in terms of bureaucracy and all of that. Do you think that was just essentially political statement from the president to be politically correct or something?
Well, I think since the inauguration of that report, several presidents have tried to implement it. Jonathan tried, Buhari tried, and well, the president this time around, he did a weak implementation. There are some managers of ministry and all that, but they can still do more. Because we should not be having an overbloated cabinet.
Right.
The president seems to have a different view that there's nothing like overbloated cabinet. The cabinet is okay the way it is, but I think that is where the issue is. There are certain ministries, there are certain agencies that need to be merged. Even the one that they say they will merge up till now, we have not seen that happened. The statement they just put up, they will not have really seen the process taking place, like ICBC and the EFCC, if my memory will recall me. I think I have something like that being merged, isn't it? And not seen that happen, several other places like that. So I think the president should work his talk. When most of these ministries are merged, and there's no repetition of function, I think we will have a headway. But the position of the president is neither here nor there, because he made a statement that they want to, reduce the ministry, and he's still creating a ministry of livestock out of Ministry of Agriculture. When we're in school, agric is about plants and animals. Why create a different ministry for livestock when we have ministry of
Maybe it's a thematic approach to response to the reality of food security is a challenge right now, and of course
Ministry of Agriculture should be trying to tackle all those.
So we need a unique ministry for livestock.
Yeah, exactly. So the ministry of livestock now, what has been the KPIs at that time? Established. I don't even know who the minister is. These are the issues.
Interesting. But let's talk about James within 2 minutes. I know let's talk about the brand now. People say we can speak about English once, stay on television all day, every day. But until we give ourselves one way or another a new constitution, Nigeria goes nowhere. Are those your sentiments?
Well, it's yes or no in the sense that there are a lot of lapses, some lacuna in the constitution that needs to be fixed. And of course, the constitution itself, even if we can even implement the content and the contents the way it is now, I don't think we'll have any problem. So the challenges we have in Nigeria is we don't walk our talk. We have good policies, we have good laws, but we do things differently the way it's supposed to be. So yes, the idea of having a new constitution is okay. Let it be on record that we now have people's constitution, that everybody comes together to agree on. But there are a lot of grey areas that need to be straightened out. The issue of regionalism, the issue of restructuring, the issue of balancing trade creation and all that is something that needs to be constitutionally done.
Right.
So it's very important that the national conference on constitutional review should be activated so that people can make views. And I think National Assembly is taking that step already, but the manner they are taking it, I don't know. But people should be seen to be participating in the constitutional
Public hearing and all that.
Public hearing, regional engagement, and constituency engagement and all that, so that people can see themselves as being part of the constitution. And ultimately what they want to see is that, okay, not 1999 constitution has amended, but a brand new constitution for the country.
Do you think, lastly, that we should go back to the confab report from 2014? It's been 10 years.
Yes, the confab report was a holistic exercise. Every stakeholder who is ruling the Nigerian system is in it, including the ruling party now. So I think going back to that and tinkering it a bit is also important, because a lot of events that might have happened over time that have cleared our eyes that this needs to be done. The issue of deaths before announcement during election and all those things. All those things need to be factored in the new constitution. But of course, this should more importantly come through the people, so that at the end of the day, we can say this is people's handed over to us by the military.
All right. I'd like to say a big thank you to you, James Ugochukwu, Executive Director, African Center for Entrepreneurship and Information Development, who is also an expert election observer, for coming to share with us today, allowing us to discuss your enjoyment this holiday season. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right, so that's our discussion today on the program. Thank you everyone for watching. Remember that the views of our guests and our opinions, we want to say we appreciate your time for watching, and we are on behalf of the entire team here at Global Television saying we thank you for your time. Welcome to Global Morning.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call the police station, before they even leave, they take permission from
I don't think there's really anything.
Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a any deadline.